Welcome, intrepid adventurers, to the 9th thrilling episode of our epic saga. Join Ari, Ortega, and Captain Talus as they stand on the threshold of the fabled city of Bazzoxan, the culmination of their arduous journey through the barbed fields. I am your host and Dungeon Master Kyle, and let's start off with a recap of the previous session by Ari.
The only two remaining members of the party after Ari's exit. Not exactly certain where everyone's gone, having seen both Toast and Lady Tatiana fly through a portal. Decides to keep heading towards Bazzoxan. As they depart, Ortega takes a dagger that has a name on it, Tyvac Wastewalker. And after hours of travel, the group feels dehydration. While Ortega locates a small oasis and they decide for a short rest, they bathe, they rest in the water and stay cool. They set off into the moonlight. Coming across a body, Talus immediately discovers Ari laying on the ground, unmoving. After a medicine check, it's determined he's unconscious, yet alive. Ortega splashes his near-full canteen all over Ari's face as he gasps for air. Ari learns the fate of the party. Ari decides the group should take their rest. During her watch, Talus receives a visit from her friend and agrees to get the jewels in question in exchange for keeping her true appearance at bay. They come across a riding party as they head down a large hill toward the city of Bazzoxan. The groups discuss the dead siege beast and the remains of a fallen sibling of one of the guards that Ortega notices is also a wastewalker. He tells of her sister's passing, but refuses to release a dagger. Our party heads off and rides towards Bazzoxan, discussing their different tactics, when a voice calls out to them from the city walls.
In this momentous installment, our heroes have finally reached their destination, a city of legends and mysteries. The echoes of their past adventures reverberate as they prepare to unlock the secrets hidden within Bazzoxan's enigmatic street. Prepare to be captivated as they explore the heart of the city, where challenges and revelations await at every turn. Brace yourselves for the extraordinary journey that lies ahead, where the strength of their unity will be put to the ultimate test. Ortega, Talus, and Ari, you guys are at the front gates of Bazzoxan, and you've just been approached by this guard who's asking you to identify.
Couple of travelers.
Nothing to be alarmed at there. Friend on the wall. You may call me Damien Swellhat. What's your name, friend?
The guard looks you guys over. Derek!
Great name. Powerful sounding. We mean just entry into the city for business and pleasure both, from what I hear about your dear town. We'll continue, I'm sure. Dear Derek.
He sees that Ortega has some scimitars on his side and Talus is loaded with guns. Are you all mercenaries? Strong traveling folk? You take care of yourselves?
We got here through the waste, didn't we? Isn't that good enough?
Ari looks over to Talus. I mean, labels don't seem necessary, but I feel like we're capable. I would say we're capable.
I think capable is the operative word here, yes.
Capable. Operative word is capable there.
Well, capable will do. We actually could use your strength of arms if you're willing or interested. We would always discuss terms. I'm glad to let you in.
We have business in town, but of course are always interested in opportunities for coin and helping our fellow friends.
Well, I will gladly bring you guys in. We'll go to the task hand, and if you're willing, we can allow you entry. And you see him make a signal with his arm, and he waves his finger out, and the gates, as they start to open outwards towards you. The air change from the exterior to the interior beyond these walls is completely different. What you were smelling, these desert smells, these sandy smells, it's changed and met with the hustle and bustle of city, the sweat of the military, and you see a center path that leads straight up into this middle area. You can't really see anything beyond that. You are in the city.
Ortega's going to look over his shoulder at Captain Talus and down at Ari. And
I'm not that short.
I'm 7 feet tall. You're short. Everybody's short to me. And think out loud. So are we only allowed entry because we might work? That seems a little odd, don't you think?
I'm not big enough to kick down the doors, and I find myself inside. Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth, shall we? Let's go hear what they have to say and then make plans that suit ourselves. Unless the captain disagrees.
I don't.
Captain, should you lead the way?
I can lead the way, yes. And I'm just going to stride forward as confidently as I can.
Awesome.
Ortega's going to look down at Ari and reach to like kind of nudge him in front of him and then realize that he doesn't like being touched and not. He'll just gesture.
Aw.
He's learning slowly.
Aw, that's really nice. I appreciate you respecting my personal space. Ari doesn't say that, but he gets it from his scowl. We walk in as Ari moves forward behind Talus, with Ortega bringing up the rear with his hulking general menace.
As you walk in past these city gates, you are met with Derek, who has now made his way down on the other side, and you see it's not hard to get down. Well, allow me to take you guys further on. We're gonna basically just head down the street here through the gatehold barracks. We'll explain more there.
Do I notice shenanigans? Like, are we being surrounded? Are we being corralled into a kill zone?
No, it is quite literally just one guy. You guys head down the main corridor here. You look down and you see there's exits, off the main path, and Derek is taking you forward. And as you walk in about the second major street, you see from around the corner of a crumbled building, there's 5 twitching, skinless masses. Their blinking eyes and slavering mouths wriggle into view. One of them is shredding the flesh of a hapless soldier in 3 of its amorphous maws. You hear trumpets, and several of the Aurora Watch soldiers hurry into the streets. One of them, a male drow, he pauses to address you and he goes, "Newcomers, no time for pleasantries. Derek, draw your weapons or get to safety. Meet us in the barracks. We'll deal with this."
What? How dead are the people? Are the people skinned, like dead? Are they mid-dying?
They are being currently devoured and being shredded right now. One of them is definitely dead, and there are a bunch of them going around now. Basically, you take a closer look, and these fleshy masses have eyes all over their faces, mouths, these maws all over. There's really no face. It's a horrible looking thing with several mouths and eyes.
Is it anything I would recognize through perception or investigation?
Ortega is thinking the same thing via his previous life on another plane.
You would never have seen anything like this.
Okay. Ortega's going to reach down and put a hand on our shoulder as Talus is probably a hair out of reach, and just say, "We haven't been hired for anything yet. I'm going to classify this as not our problem and let the guards take care of it."
Oh, but it's so gross. It's so gross, Ortega.
Yeah, Ortega wants nothing to do with it. And he's still got 2 levels of exhaustion, so that's really not feeling it. Like, he will, but right now his mindset is kind of like, they just took the guy walking us into the city away from us. This is not our problem. Let's go deal with our own problems. I'm sure the guards can take care of it. It's Bazzoxan.
Yes, they can't. We've got a monster coming on our heels without a group of guards to take the first hit.
Does that thing look like it's fast?
It does not look like it's really fast at all, no. It doesn't seem to be moving, really.
Hanging from rewards seem easy for finding something in such a state.
One of the 5 you see is starting to evade the members of the Aurora Watch as it gets closer to you.
Your call, Talus. We can either move on with our day or we can stand here and fight this thing.
Do we have a sense of how many people are being attacked right now, or is it unclear?
With it being in kind of an alleyway or just a smaller street, you can't really see what's beyond on the opposite side from where all this commotion is going on. But you do see that there's 4 members of the Aurora Watch already kind of taking each one on their own.
Okay.
And you do see another drow female decked out in plate armor. She looks to be a commander of some sort in the Aurora Watch.
Okay.
Ari pulls out his pistols and gives them a spin and loads them and looks to Talus.
Talus is going to throw an Eldritch Blast at the nearest one.
Yes.
All right, go for it. You can do this without initiative for sure.
That is a 15 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Perfect. So that's going to be 7 damage.
Okay. It takes the blast. It doesn't seem to really show any form of affection or affliction towards it. It just kind of continues on. You see that with its oozy mass as like part of the flesh kind of grips onto a tile as it drags itself forward. It's still just as it slides across the ground. You see it's leaving this gross slime behind it. Very slow movements, 10 feet at a time. So if you wanted to, you could run, but not knowing where you're going, you're going to have to hide in a building, at least until the Aurora Watch takes over.
Seeing Talus make a blast, I would like to unload a shot on it, and I'd like to simultaneously ascertain what's around me in terms of a place to hide and get out of this thing's way.
Okay, make your attack.
Natural 18, 5 points of piercing damage, and if I see a place to get out of its way and find some cover, I want to go there and indicate to both Talus and Ortega.
Okay, make a perception check.
13.
Okay, so you see that there are a couple houses in the area. You hear some screaming from inside most of these houses. All the doors are closed.
I shout to Talus and Ortega, people to protect and a place to hide. Ortega, what's a door anyway?
You want me to break down a door instead of running
Yes.
face first into the thing?
I'm not sure what the thing is and don't intend to tell you how to die, but prefer if you didn't, considering it did not seem to have a great affect to my bullets, which I know for a fact tear apart the foreheads of people made of things like you. Get us safe, and there are people inside screaming. They need our help and might have money for it.
Ortega is going to rage, except this time it's different. As he rages, starts to swell, and you see his bones kind of lurch kind of creepily as he grows to about 14 feet tall. All his bony protrusions that are out of his skin seem to grow and are thicker and bigger than they normally are. And he will run right through the closest door as he just runs and leaps and kind of does like a headfirst football tackle right through the door.
Ari says quietly to Talus, I thought he'd just knock and go first.
Make a strength
Did
check.
you know that he could do that?
I've never seen it before, no.
Using athletics, that will be a 21.
So you just go up to this house that's 2 feet away from you, and you just you bash through the door. It wasn't really shut all the way. You go flubbling in, and you see a family of drow trying to fend off with pots and pans one of these gibbering mouthers as it's clawing and gnashing away at the family.
Would you say that going through the door was my movement, or was that an action?
That was definitely an action. You put a lot
Okay.
moved into it, but you're in now, and you guys can all, you're really close to each other. You guys can all see there's only one in here.
Yeah.
And with that bash, you do have the active surprise right now.
So Ortega, having moved not very much of his movement, is going to shout, "There's one in here!" And he's going to look for the children of this drow family, and he's going to try and pick them both up and just move them to somewhere safe in the room.
The children are behind the parent, and it looks
Okay.
like there's like a brother or an uncle of some sort who's there with the father. The mother is behind them, guarding the children. So the children
Okay.
are relatively pretty safe.
Okay, so Ortega is then just going to move to also be in between the mass and the family
Okay.
and draw his scimitars.
And Talus?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna get in there and prepare to cast a spell.
I'ma shoot it.
Just from outside the door?
I will come and stand in the door frame, assuming that no one from the party nor family is in my way. I want to position it that if it goes through this thing, I'm not about to kill a kid nor parent.
You would have to go to the left or the right side of this room where it is.
Counterpoint, I will, how about this? How about I slide down on the ground to get an upward enough angle over to the side, so like a diagonal thing. But I'm going to use the upward angle, sliding on the ground, mostly because doing a baseball slide with guns seems kind of cool, yet ultimately unsafe. And I would like to shoot it with a forceful shot.
Okay. Yeah, you have the surprise round, so I'll let it happen, and then we'll go to initiative.
Okay, so it spends 1 grit point. On a hit, the creature takes damage and must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 15 feet away from me. So I kind of want to launch this thing up in the air. It's a 16 plus 7 to hit, so it's like a 20 math. 23 to hit.
Oh, yeah, that'll hit.
Great. 8 points of damage, and it needs to make a strength saving throw or be launched into the air a bit. DC of 13.
Natural 20 on the strength save.
Well, it made it. Dang. But I hope it knows what I was trying to do.
I mean, it doesn't, but it's all good. Yeah, so with that being said, everyone roll your initiative.
6, Kyle.
Kyle, I don't know if my initiative is showing up, but I did get a 19.
I rolled a 13.
So at the top of the round, Talus, you are up.
Okay, I am going to bring my hand down and cast Toll the Dead. So it has to make a DC 16 Wisdom save.
It fails.
It fails? Okay, perfect.
Nice.
And it's missing hit points, right?
It is, yes.
Okay, so instead of 2d8 necrotic damage, I do 2d12 necrotic damage.
Nice!
So 14.
All right. You see that as it's just being bonked and poked and stabbed by all of these things, as you cast this Toll the Dead on it, some of the eyes shift and look towards you guys, and one of its mouths is going to open up from behind it, and it's going to make a blinding spittle, and it's going to spit a chemical glob as it goes out of its mouth. One of them, a blinding light flashes. I need all of you within 5 feet of the flash, which is all of you, to make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Oh, wicked. Advantage for being a barbarian.
17.
I also got a 17.
Nice. All the cool kids are getting 17.
We are the three amigos.
Are you kidding me?
No, I got a 15 plus 2.
Oh my
Across
goodness.
the board, wow.
Los Tres Amigos. Here we go. That's awesome.
While it doesn't realize that didn't do anything to you guys, it is going to creep forward onto you, and it's going to attack Ortega, since you are technically the closest.
Sure.
And it's going to smack the roll to attack me with a 16 to hit.
Just hits.
Silvery barbs as Ari sees the attack going towards Ortega, who he regretted deeply leaving last time. Mutters under his mask, some sort of magic kind of curls out from his guns, triggered by his mouth. And you must re-roll your d20 and use your lower roll.
It's a 5. It misses.
Silvery barbs does a thing or two more. I can choose a different creature I see within range, and the chosen creature has advantage on their next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw made within 1 minute. Oh, Ortega, you have yourself a dab of dew time.
All right. Still going to try to attack Ortega, but it's going to miss. And that is ending its turn, which brings us to, now that it's within 10 feet of all of you, Ari, you are up next. I need you to make a strength saving throw for me, please.
Real quick, Kyle, where are the Drow family in this? Just roughly, where are they in the room?
They would have been behind. I made a little tiny room. That's where the women and the children are, the circles.
Okay.
As soon as the 2 adult men saw you guys come in, they backed off. They're in that room now, and they've closed the door.
Perfect.
Strength saving throw of 14.
14. Okay, good. You're fine.
You. If I back up, he gets an attack of opportunity, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, then. Well, I will probably shoot it in whatever is the closest thing to its face I can find.
Okay.
13 plus 7 for a 20 to hit. 10 points of piercing damage. And with my bonus action, I will, after having shot it, and the whistle over the top of the gun makes a bit of a musical note as I look over to Ortega. It's a note that it's how he used to whistle. I try and mock it a little bit, but he knows what I'm trying to do. And he gets bardic inspiration from the whistle over the top of the gun barrel.
Okay.
Wicked. I'm up, Kyle.
Yep.
Excellent. This is going to be an action-packed round from Ortega. He's going to slice the thing.
Sorry, I need you to make a strength saving throw first before anything.
Okay. I get an advantage on that from Silvery Barbs. I'm going to go with I pass. 23 or something like that.
You're good.
Okay. So, slice. 26 to hit the first one for 6 points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
19 the second time. I'm using the +5 from the Bardic Inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
For 10 points of damage. And then as a bonus action, I'm going to actually use the shove action, or the sub bonus action. Because I've attacked, I can shove as a bonus action. So I'm going to kick Ari 5 feet further away from the whatever this thing is, so that he can then start shooting it. I'm hoping to push him out of range as force movement to not give that reaction.
Okay.
Brilliant. Also, Al.
It's a mechanical push. It's not like I kicked you to hurt you. I kicked you to get you out.
Ari appreciates it, but also was like, hey, that bruise shaped in your boot size was not there before.
It's also a 14-foot tall Ortega boot.
Ouch.
Hence, ow.
Yeah, I should note that it's like 10-foot ceilings in here.
I'm literally like as big as I can get without being in there.
So you push him out of the way?
Yeah, I push him further away so that on his next turn he can shoot it.
Ending your turn, Talus, you're up.
I might just Eldritch Blast this thing again. I love a good Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, she does.
Okay, crazy. 15 again on the Eldritch Blast.
It's going to hit.
That is a 6 plus 5, so 11 damage.
That Eldritch Blast, as it finally hits, it goes, you see you've knocked out like a bunch of teeth and some eyes go scattering all over the place, which brings us to its turn. It's not a smart thing, so it's just going to continue attacking Ortega, and it's going to, 21 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay, 13 points of damage.
What kind of damage is that?
Piercing.
Excellent, it's halved.
And this other part doesn't apply to you because I'm assuming you are considered large, correct?
I am currently considered large, yes.
Okay, so the other part wouldn't matter to you. And a 4 to hit on the second one doesn't going to hit. And that's all it can do. It's just going to slowly creep forward yet again, which now puts Talus in this strength saving throw issue. Ari, you are up, but you need to make a strength saving throw.
Natural 20. Seems like a waste. Would have rather done that for shooting it in the face, but okay.
All right.
Right.
Before you start your turn, as you are looking at all these mouths and these eyes that are now beaming onto you, you hear something in your head. It's a voice that you've heard before, but you can't quite figure out where you've heard it before. And all it says to you is, "This is wasting time."
Well, I'm going to try and kill it faster then. Also, sorry, not to meta, would a perception roll help me ascertain what the voice is?
So if you make the perception check, you won't be able to make an attack. Your primary focus is going to be on figuring out what just happened.
The thing is hurt, right? I see it hurt. I saw its teeth fly out. It's hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Your buddy Ortega's in there.
I stop and I listen, and I want to know what that voice is, even if I can't pull a trigger.
Make a perception check.
You should mind that 20 on a saving throw. Plus 3 off of the 12 is a 15.
15, okay. So as you are, you're about to cock your gun to take your second shot, and you hear this voice in your head, and you pause for a moment, you think about it, you look around, and, well, nothing has changed. It's Ortega, it's Talus, but the voice, you can't pick out where you've heard the voice before. You hear the mumblings of the Drow family as they're trying to protect their children, and the tone of the voice that you heard, it somewhat matches tones of the Drow folk that you have seen. You look around and you start to see images or reflections or echoes of items that used to be there that aren't there anymore. You're seeing very weird things going on in this house. Drow that aren't there, that aren't there, but they're not aggressive. They're just echoes, they're spirit, but not in the ghostly sense.
So Ari's freaked out and wants to cast Action Surge, but can't. He just stops, looks around. That's it.
Okay, Ortega, you're up. Make your strength save.
13.
You're good. You do see Ari is almost frozen. Like you don't understand why he didn't take the shot.
Ortega's gonna look over to Talus and say, "Get Ari out of here and get him back to his senses. I'll take care of this." And he's gonna swipe.
Go nuts. 17
to hit and a 14 to hit.
Yeah, they're both gonna hit.
9 points and 6 points. So 17 or 14 points of damage as he just keeps slicing away.
As you slice away, the first hit seems to take off most of the first largest mandible that clawing out at people. And then the second hit just slices it down and it just starts to evaporate into a pool of teeth and eyes.
All right, it's safe to come out now.
The family slowly opens the back door. You see that it's a kitchen. You look around, you see that the front door is busted in. No, thank you. We don't have anything to offer, but our greatest gratitude to you and your associates. If you don't mind us, we're gonna head upstairs. We're gonna make sure our children are okay.
Are there others here?
The Drow look around and look at their family and go, No, it's been us for 100, 200 years at least.
Ari fastens the mask around his face and pulls his hat down.
You hear the commotion has finished on the exterior. You look out the door. You see that the gibbering mouthers have all been taken care of. And you see the one female drow, battered, bruised, and bloodied, and teeth marks everywhere. She has a large glaive, and she puts it down beside her, and she looks at you and goes,
"Thank you. Come, let's make haste. We have much to discuss."
Before they leave, Ortega is going to take a coin out of his coin pouch and hand it to the whichever drow of the family looks to be in charge as they're heading up the stairs. He's going to hand them a gold coin and just say, "That's for the door," as he'll walk outside in front of whoever's out in the courtyard, and he'll shrink down back to size as his rage ends and carry on.
Last act, Ortega. Last act.
Shall we?
Ari says nothing but follows.
Ortega will wait Alice to follow Ari and that drow, and he'll take his spot at the rear of the party to protect everyone's back. He's going to do it all campaign, Alice.
And I'm going to shake my head every single time.
You weren't actually too far away from the barracks, which is lucky. As you make your way to the barracks, you learn that this drow is the task hand. That's her. She's Taskand Varen Thelis. She takes you on into the barracks, and she looks at you, and she introduces herself as the leader of Bazzoxan and apologizes.
I'm sorry. These mouthers have been more prominent. Usually we are very good at keeping things on the outside. Unfortunately, something has been going on, and they've been encroaching from the inside of Bazzoxan. They are ancient horrors from times long past that have just survived aeons and eons. It's an ongoing fight, but we have been steadily making haste on the effort. I'm sorry. What can I do for you?
I'll cut straight to the chase. We're looking for a group of mercenaries or adventurers that just happened upon town not too long ago. Within the last day or two, there was a drow, a human, a blue orc, a tall ogre, and a little goblin feller. We need to have a conversation with them in a timely fashion.
I can't say I've seen them. There was a drow that came to us recently. It was just one. What was his name? Galsariad. Is that whom you're looking?
That's the one.
He did mention that there was an object that he wished us to take a look at, but for some reason he didn't have it. He said something about going to his friends to acquire it. It was being held for safer keeping. Somebody else had it, and that was 5-6 hours ago, maybe.
Well, that particular item that he is referring to doesn't belong to him.
I don't have any authority over whose it is. It didn't come from here, so unfortunately, that's going to be between you and Galsariad and his group of folk. He mentioned that they would be hanging out at the ready room. Your best bet is to check there. And unfortunately, there's really not a whole lot that we can do. I apologize, but if you'll excuse me, I do need to tend to some other matters involving these gibbering mouthers, folk to take care of, wounded, including myself. Feel free to come back. I have no problems telling you where the ready room is.
And she tells you where the ready room is.
And come and see me if you get the item. Maybe I can take a look at it. I am older than I look, so let's put it that way.
We appreciate your hospitality, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again soon. We are
certainly
aware that there's work to be had while we're here, so we may be interested.
Ari starts to walk forward and literally grabs Ortega by the shirt sleeve, head in the direction. As they start to get outside, do we ever find ourselves a space on the streets where there's no one around, or we are maybe under the cover of darkness? Or there's an alley I could duck into? Question behind the question. I'm looking to cast Disguise Self.
Yeah, the barracks themselves are right in this center area, and the ready room is really not that far off. It's literally right across the street. It's the only building that actually doesn't look like a military compound of some sort. Given the time of day and with all the vendors out and about, you could theoretically duck in behind the ready room or another one of the buildings in this circle area.
Then I float the idea to the team, considering certain acrimonious and unfinished waivens the last team left us. Maybe we shouldn't tip our hand before we see exactly what is happening inside of the ready room. I can become something different and come back and report.
So can I.
We really are the
That's
three
dandy.
amigos here, fellas and lady.
Really. I cast Disguise Self, and I become a somewhat peasant-y, but well enough to go into the place version of someone who looks uniquely like Paul Simon.
Okay.
Ortega is going to cast Disguise Self, and he's going to turn himself into what looks like a very short Goliath with tribal furs and stuff. Just a 7-foot tall Goliath instead of like 10 feet tall, with war paint markings all over him and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think Talus is just going to present an idea to the party. So I could either go discreet, or if we're interested in having a bit of leverage, perhaps I could disguise myself as the task hand.
Ari rolls his revolver and says, I do love a bit of deception. Find it both charming, effective, and fun as hell.
We picked our disguises. You can pick yours.
I believe that you should lead the way inside while Ortega and I scope the place without prying eyes. I'm willing to bet that the people we seek are not the only people of interest inside.
Okay, then I'm going to disguise myself as Theron, and then we keep all of those bruises and sign of battle that she had on her.
Are you going into the ready room?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm prepared to go in a moment or so behind, but not enough where an initiative order would be at risk.
Ortega's going to look at whatever notice boards or posters might be outside the ready room or anything like that and wait an odd minute before he walks in.
The notice boards are all just odd jobs, like blacksmith wanted, stuff like that. There's not wanted dead or alive kind of things. Anything basically saying that there is a quote unquote mission or a quest literally just says to return to the barracks and talk to the task.
Ortega seeing the blacksmith one, knowing that he can smith if they decide to stick in town a while, he might take that and rip it off the board and put it in his pocket for later.
As you walk in, you see it's a large barn with a steeply pointed roof. It looms over the battered structures near the center of the town. Over the double door hangs a sign that bears the tavern's name, the Ready Room, in Undercommon, Orc, Goblin, and Common. You walk in and you see that it's a 2-floor building. The ground floor you see has tools, piles of tools. There's lanterns, shovels, ladders, and the like. And there's about a dozen wooden stalls that have been turned into curtained sleeping quarters. Each one seems to hold about 5 cots. There's a rope and a pulley hoist, and it functions kind of like an elevator, and allowing access to a spacious loft where the proprietors have equipped a bar and surrounded it with 24 stools that are mostly occupied by patrons. Behind the bar, you can hear clinking of the glasses, and you hear someone behind manning the bar. Talus, make a perception check.
That's an 8.
As you get to the top floor on this elevator, you're looking around and you don't notice anything really out of the ordinary, but then you are tapped on the shoulder and you hear a half-orc yelling your name as if you are familiar. And she goes, "Taskhand Varen." And as she turns you around, you see a very familiar half-orc female, and standing behind her is Tatiana holding a package.
Oh my god.
Oh, there goes the disguise.
Well, darn.
The best laid plans, I tell you. The best laid plans.
Oh my god.
They were medium laid plans at best, but holy hell, no.
This half-orc looks at you and goes,
"What, you're just gonna dead stare an old friend?"
I'm so sorry. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Usually you're in the barracks. We showed up here and we were just going to head down. Have you seen a group of travelers, a hobgoblin, an elf, I don't know, Tatiana?
She looks back to Tatiana. And,
where are your friends? Where are they?
If I knew where they were, I wouldn't be here asking you.
May I cough? Yeah. Gosh, it's dry here.
I'm going to turn to Tatiana and go, "I'm sorry, you said your name is Tatiana?"
Yes.
Oh, that's so interesting. I believe I have something for you.
I'm assuming you pull out Tatiana's sword.
Yes.
Tatiana, make a perception check. I'll give you advantage. I'll give you advantage because you obviously recognize this rapier.
Well, the first one was 21, so look at that, 2 21s in a row. Why do you have my sword?
It's from a friend.
And where are those friends? And something has happened to my
Ari speaks up
friends.
from the background. Ari speaks up in the background and says, "Oh yeah, I mean, really, friends come from anywhere. They sometimes come from the ground or the muck, or they sometimes come from a rag covered in beer. Sometimes they come from dead bodies, and sometimes they come from journeys shared. Have you not an open mind?"
I'm just gonna look annoyed at you. I don't have time for riddles. If any harm has come to my friends, it won't be pretty.
It's probably at this time that Ortega is probably just passing everyone, and as he does, he's going to slide a bone rose into Tatiana's pocket.
Make a sleight of hand check.
I rolled a 13. That's not bad. 15.
Tatiana, make another perception check. You don't notice it in your pocket.
So Ortega will continue to walk by, and he'll probably head to the bar to get a drink or just sit at a table and kind of keep his eye on everything. That makes more sense. And he will just telepathically tell Tatiana, the woman Varen in front of you is Talus. The other one that spoke is Ari. And the Goliath behind you at a table is me.
I'm gonna make no, subtle glances. I'm literally just gonna turn around and glare at you. I found them, and now I feel like an idiot.
Oh, well, it looks like my daughter has found her friends. They must be in the bar. So with that, let's talk later at the barracks. Maybe discuss plans between Blade Garden and Bazzoxan.
Absolutely. And again, please forgive my strangeness. It's been a very long day, and with everything that's going on at work, Anyways, yes, I will speak to you later.
I'm gonna lean over and whisper to Talus, that look doesn't really suit you.
I don't think it does.
We'll talk later. And I'll go and I'll watch the three of them and wait.
The three of you are still in your disguises. You look around. You don't see the other party at all.
Ortega would probably at that point get up, try and find a restroom, and just come back out as Ortega and sit down next to Tatiana with a couple of drinks that he had gotten from the bar.
Ari's going to sit by the band and essentially see if he can either play, but essentially he wants to position himself in a spot farther from the party to keep an eye on the bar.
If I can, I'd like to go up to the bar and tap on it to get the barkeep's attention.
You go up to the bar and you see the bartender is Drow, brother and sister. You see he's got a little tiny name tag, and his name is Delez, Delez. And Delez looks around, and as you tap on the bar, and very sorry, Taskan Varen, your regular, the wine that we have aside for you.
That would be fantastic, Delez.
Oh, perfect. And you see where most of the alcohols are. He goes completely out of the way. He rummages back into this secret reserve and he pulls out a bottle. It's this very nice, elegant, ancient drow red wine. And he pops the cork and he pours it into this very elegant glass. It's not like he's done this a million times. He hands it out, he swirls it a little bit, and he just hands it in front of you and says, "Enjoy, and any news of recent issues that I should know about?"
Honestly, everything's a bit dry at the moment, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. I wanted to ask you about a group of travelers who I believe came through here.
Taskan Velen, I'm tragically sorry. You're going to have to be a little more specific.
Oh, absolutely. In particular, I'm looking for an orcish woman, blue orc woman that would have come through here, I believe, in the last few days.
Blue orcish woman. He thinks about it for a second. Yes, she was here not too long ago, actually. She was here with a goblin, and she was here with a rather large ogre female. There was a drow with her, and one of the waste walkers. They seemed to be in quick haste, and they scattered around. And as far as I know, the drow fellow went off to see you. I'm assuming you're That's why you're back. You're looking for them. They haven't been back since. I'm very sorry. I can't be of any assistance. I don't know where they would have gone. They didn't even pay for a room yet. They met here, they grabbed a drink, and then that was it.
All right. Well, thank you for the help. I appreciate it. Everything's a mess right now, but I'll get it figured out. And then I'm just going to sit down, enjoy my wine before moving on.
Ari, as you are sitting by the band, you're looking around and you're trying to see if you can find anybody, and you start hearing this voice again. And as you hear this voice, in a very similar fashion, the visage of the room starts to change as you see these echoes and shadows of previous lives once throughout the time of Bazzoxan. And you hear this voice again, and he goes,
"You're wasting time. Come see me."
I say out loud, "There."
"The dilapidated temple. You'll find me there. I know where you can find the kin that you were looking for."
Ari clams up in his costume. He checks to make sure that his guns are loaded, and he checks with his team to ascertain whether or not yet he can leave. He'll whisper to the band, maybe there's someone not playing, maybe there's a server nearby. I'd like to inquire of the nearest available, knowledgeable person who's clearly not a tourist.
Make a...
Heard about the dilapidated temple.
Make a
I
history.
feel like I'd like to... Deception check?
No, just a history. Just straight history check.
A history check?
Yeah.
Great. That 14 for 14 total. Intelligence, not my bag.
Somehow you actually know exactly where to go.
Oh.
You feel as though in this echoed realm that you seem to be phasing in and out of, you're being guided and pushed. It's almost as if you walked this path before. You've been here before. There's something echoing inside of you, and you just have this feeling.
After hearing the voice, want to leave, but I see Talus there and Ortega in their disguises. There's Lady Tatiana. I'm like, oh, holy smokes, we need to connect with her.
Ortega is currently out of his disguise, sitting with Tatiana. Like, he would have just sat down with her to have a conversation.
Some slight surprise there. I will slide over to where they are, knowing this, wanting to move on, but recognizing that I'm not the only one here. To make sure that Lady Tatiana knows who I am, I put a revolver on the table, spin it, and flick it in my hand, put it down. She knows exactly who I am.
She rolls her eyes at you.
And Ortega's going to say,
"You've been on..." responds right back, "I missed you too."
Ortega's
going to get out of that ridiculous outfit. I have something for you.
You do.
That's exactly why I came over here. I'm curious about that little package.
I'm sorry. This package is for Ari, not whoever you are. And I'm going to just smile deviously.
And Ortega's going to look at Ari and go, "That's a little hypocritical of you, don't you think? Since you just made me wait 2 days for some information you've been withholding."
Ari puts down the hat, hoping no one sees for a second. And as he bows down, when he comes back up, he is himself, ending the illusion.
"Oh, darling, where have you been?" And I'm just going to be loud and obnoxious about it.
Oh, gosh, you
looking everywhere for you.
You just suck so hard.
If only you knew. And I wink and pass him the package.
I receive it. What is the package?
It is a very nicely wrapped, loot-shaped package. It has, in very terribly written common, "To Ari, from your friend, Toast."
I tear it open immediately.
It is a loot that has been crafted very nicely. You can tell there's elements of Toast put into it. Also see that on the inside of the belly of the loot is a glowing chord progression.
I look to Lady Tatiana and I say, "That's worth dropping a disguise for. I believe I may play this alone. Will I remember a fallen friend?"
Oh, don't give him all the credit. Mother helped too. And I'll nudge finger.
I was kind of hoping that was something different. Is all Ortega says as he kind of mopes and starts drinking his beer. He might actually go up and head back to the bar to get a couple of whiskeys for him and Ari.
Does anything about the rune glowing message at the inside strike me as dangerous?
Make a performance check.
Natural 3. Even with my performance boost, that's 8. It is so on brand that it hurts my soul.
You're looking at this chord progression and you see that it is a lot of minor notes. You're not really one to play minor notes, but you do know that, like, if it's made into a song, it's usually a more somber, sadder tone, but you don't have any idea whether it's dangerous or not.
I keep that knowledge to myself. Thank you, Lady Tatiana. Where did you go? Last I heard, you were pulled into a portal, and you find yourself here, giving me a lovely gift.
Well, I died. And then she came. We went home. I healed. They made that. And we took another portal and now we're here because I knew you were going to be here since you didn't come after me.
For what it's worth, when I left, you could not be awoken.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even plan to see you again.
It's at this point that Ortega probably sits back down with 3 whiskeys for the party that's at the table.
Ari, hear that voice again.
Come see me.
Prince, I need to leave, and I'm glad that we have found each other, but I don't believe that our place to connect is in this here pub. I look over to Talus. I have regularly said that I will follow your lead, but this time I will find my own, and I want you to come with me, please.
Talus is going to finish the wine that was given to her, and she's going to walk out of the ready room as if she's going back to work.
Ortega is going to look at both Ari and Tatiana, and he's going to go, I just got good whiskey. This is such a waste. As he will grab one glass and take the whole glass like a shot, and then follow it with the one that's in front of Ari, and then follow it with the other one if Tatiana hasn't done the same by the time he gets to it.
Can I get in front of him grabbing my whiskey shot?
You could have reached for Tatiana's probably, but you wouldn't have known I'm doing it until I did it. But there's a third one on the table, so you could do it with the third one by the time I got to it. I'll let you do that.
I won't. I wouldn't take Lady Tatiana's.
Well then, Ortega will basically just chugged 3 whole glasses of whiskey, and then if we're going, we're going, and he'll stand up and start walking out.
Lead the way. You seem to know where you were wanting to go.
Ari, you walk out with full intention on exactly where you're going to go. You head out of the ready room. Looming beyond is the Betrayer's Rise, and for some reason you're not drawn there, but it's of importance to you. You head north towards it. As soon as you get to the front gates of the Betrayer's Rise, where there's palisades lined up blocking the major city from the actual Betrayer's Rise itself, but you see this very tiny, overgrown cemetery. You see 2 major sets of footprints, a smaller set of footprints and an elven set of footprints. You walk forward more, and as you get closer to this building, you see that it's ancient. It has been built and destroyed and rebuilt and destroyed again, and you're seeing earliest parts of the foundations and that have been rotting. It seems to be as though that this structure, this temple, has been here for 10,000 years at least. You walk in further, and you actually find yourselves going into the mountain. As you walk further down, you're going down into the mountain. You see that the stone, the dirt, is now not so decrepit. You walk further down, and as you get to the bottom, you're into this central chamber. And inside this chamber, you see a statue of a drow soldier holding a sword in the air and a shield. And you see an elf standing in front having what looks to be a heated conversation with Dermot. As you get closer to the statue, you hear this voice in your head.
Yes, come closer. Come see me. I am here.
And it's getting closer and closer as you get to the space of this structure, and you see the plaque. That you don't know how you understand this language, but it's in Undercommon. And you just recognize these words in Undercommon. For some reason, it says, the champion of Lulth, Udvara Pa.
Does that name mean anything to me when I see it?
You hear the voice going,
it's good to finally meet you.
You don't have any idea who this person is or was. You hear Dermot yelling at this elf, going, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't know what to tell you unless you want this. And he shows the Luxon pendant. At this point, Parrish, would you like to explain who you are?
All right. Yes, that is what I have been trying to tell you. This is what I was looking for. You see a elf with hair braided with colorful ribbons throughout, long leather overcoat colored in various feathers of pastel colors. Now, I've been looking for this and waiting here for nearly 2 weeks.
Do I see what it is? Like, what is he handling? What is he holding?
He's handing a Luxon beacon.
It's the Lux. Okay, it is the Luxon beacon.
To him, he doesn't know what it is. It's just his symbol. He looks at this elf and he goes, I'm terribly sorry. I thought you were here looking for something else. It is also a necklace, which is, you got to understand the confusion. See, they're here looking for that necklace, and that I don't have.
Sorry, there? Who?
And
I assume I look over to the party.
You hear the cocking of 2 pistols.
Oh, them.
Us.
Look, I know who has it. I just don't know where they are. I haven't seen her in a while, but Io has it.
Talus is going to immediately step in front of Ari and block his shot. You don't know where she is.
When Talus immediately walks in front, pistols go up.
I'm sorry. So what happened was we were all at the ready room. Galcerad wanted to leave it with me for safekeeping. I decided to come learn a little bit about my uncle's stories. I've heard this name before. I knew that there's something special about the statue. I came here. I didn't know how to get here. It took me a long time to figure out how to get here. I thought I'd had it with me when Galcerad had given it to me, and I didn't think anything of it. I never wore it. I never put it on. And when I went to check when I got here, I didn't have it with me. Maggie, she's been in the barracks in the military ring. She's been fighting. That's all she wanted to do. She just wanted to go have some tournaments. Irvin is nowhere to be seen. Io was still at the ready room. And then this guy comes along asking me about the pendant, the necklace, and I was having a conversation with him and he was getting really heated and I just really didn't know what was going on, and I thought he was part of your team and I thought he was going to kill me, and so naturally I put up my defense.
Kill you? I just got a little upset. I've been waiting here for 2 weeks. I've sketched that statue nearly 12 times.
I don't know. I thought you were waiting to kill me.
Why do you think Io has it?
And why shouldn't we kill you?
They both ask very good questions.
I think it's best we all keep our weapons away. I, for one, wouldn't want anyone to die today. And I expect if violence happened, it would likely be me.
And who are you?
Out of all of this, I agree. Who are you? And why shouldn't we kill you? And Dermot.
Well, for one, I happen to think life's very valuable. And Dermot here, well, I don't know him very well, but doesn't seem like the type to kill out of cold blood.
Do I seem like the type of person that would kill out of cold blood?
Parrish, make an insight check.
Insight check on murderous tendencies.
What am
So close to a nat 20, but I rolled a 2 for a 9 total.
You genuinely would think that this guy could potentially have murderous and cold blood intentions.
Yeah, you are much bigger and much stronger than I am. I'm sure if we came to blows, you would have a great advantage. Does that make you feel powerful?
I don't really care about power, to be honest.
And let's continue having a civil conversation.
Ari uncocks his guns.
And you, Dermot?
The night that we poisoned you. It wasn't for ill intent. I know it comes off like that.
You poisoned us.
You poisoned them. As Parrish takes like a sidestep.
It wasn't my immediate intention.
I'm sorry. It was one of those accidental poisonings. Whoops-a-daisy.
It was Galcerat. The goblins and the hobgoblins made a deal with him that if they gave us quick passage, that they could get the vestige of divergence to the Kryn and help establish their name. We weren't doing it to hurt you or to harm you. We knew you would say no. We knew that if we were to do things your way, we wouldn't make money, or rather Galcerad wouldn't make money, and kind of intimidated by the guy.
Excuse me, what poison did you use?
Oh, it's ancient hobgoblin tea. It's from the Fae.
I have proficiency with Poisoner's Kit. Could I roll to see if that would be lethal?
Make a medicine check and then just do a standard proficiency.
It's a 26.
Ortega wants to glean, now that he's experienced it and has heard the name of it, if he's aware of what poison he's talking about, being a goblinoid.
Yeah, it is a non-lethal but highly potent poison, and it's more effective to people from the Fae.
Well, that explains why I had disadvantage.
That explains why you had disadvantage. And Dermot continues on. He goes, I am sorry. I needed answers. I wanted to come to my uncle, a winner in his books. I wanted to show that we are capable of doing this without you. We didn't need you. And we convinced Maggie, and Irvin was an easy sell. He was more in on it than I was. I was reluctant, and I know that Avandra wouldn't want me to do this. This is not my path, which is why I offered to take the jewels in the first place from Galcerad, was to keep them safe so that worst case scenario, we could find a way to get them back to you or back to Ragbeard. But then Io took them. Maybe she thought that I was in on it. I don't know.
How do you know that she took them?
I don't know. None of us trust Irvin. Galcerad trusts me to take them and to put them into safekeeping. Irvin wouldn't steal from me, and Maggie hasn't been with us the entire time. Irvin has been gone the entire time. In the ready room at the end, it was only Io and I. Everyone has been accounted for since Galcerad has given me the jewels.
Parrish should just kind of take a step back, not looking threatening, but sizing the group up, also not aligning himself with this goblin, but sort of just taking a beat and taking in the information that has been presented.
Does anyone else want to take the lead on talking to Dermot, or may I proceed as he will look at Talus and Ari?
Do you know anything about that statue?
Do I know anything about the statue? I know a little.
Pray tell.
This is, from what I've heard, the one that is responsible for almost destroying the Earth 50-some odd years ago.
History? Can I
roll a religion on it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Tatiana, make this with advantage.
History with advantage. Well, first I rolled a 7, and then I rolled a 10.
Okay.
19 on religion.
So Parrish's religion check first. You've known through many, many stories and legends of champions of Lolth that have come and gone over the years. You know that the name Udvarapok is one of the most feared names, as Udvarapok is responsible for acquiring an item known as the Quattro Signati and ultimately murdering Daemor Ski, which is a name that's important to you. Tatiana, very similar, except you've unfortunately had the luxury of meeting Udvarapok at some point.
Man is a plague. You shouldn't have a statue.
Most men who have statues are a plague.
Oh, that's such a good line. I love that line so hard.
It's a good line.
In Ortega's head, he's kind of thinking, man, I want a statue.
I'm sorry. Pardon my rudeness earlier, but who are you?
I apologize. With the guns drawn and heated conversation. My name is Parrish. I've been here 2 weeks. I've been working between times at the tavern as well as the infirmary, providing some aid. And who are all of you? As I was only expecting to meet a goblin here, and it seems that you've somewhat of a story to tell.
This goblin has business with us.
Do you mean to kill him?
No.
If I wasn't friends with his uncle, I might.
This group is not necessarily a democracy, but I care about what he has to say.
I don't intend to kill him. Galcerad's another story.
Parrish, there's more for you here to meet, including our captain. And I look back at Talus and slowly let go of what is a death grip on the holster of my gun.
I'm Captain Talus Rockwell. It's a pleasure to meet you, Parrish. And my apologies for the state of my party.
That is quite okay. I'll give a deep bow to the captain. Unfortunately, I don't have a cap to tilt to you. As long as you're not planning on killing anyone in the streets, if your business isn't done, could we maybe move this inside? I don't know if you've seen, there's terrifying monsters about. And frankly, this statue is unsettling. There's a tavern in town. If we have things to talk about, it's much easier to do over a drink.
I can get behind that. Honestly,
I do a perception check or like an insight check to get a basic, is this guy just shenanigans vibe?
Insight check.
Ortega's only issue is that he really wants to make sure that Dermot comes with us, kind of as a little bit of an insurance policy.
9 with my modifier, so yeah, 9.
He's legit.
Yeah, here. Let me roll either a deception or a diplomacy.
I love that. I love the roll like a deception or persuasion and don't say what it is rule. I love that.
It's a fantastic rule.
It was an 18, but given that this elf, while armored, appears quite frail, his weapon is on kind of his back, out of reach.
Does he seem unwell because of a sickness? Can you unpack a little bit what you mean by frail?
His musculature seems just a little sunken in, though fair and fine features. Yeah, it's not age either. It would be tough to place what his age is in adulthood for an elf, as far as you know.
Well, insofar as elves can be aged at all accurately.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I would say if you've seen a shriveled corpse in that the musculature goes away, it's similar, but almost like it's been sort of rejuvenated since then. So smaller and still very beautiful, but not an imposing figure like Ortega. But Parrish is being sincere in almost like plaintively so, like, I am not going to fight you. I would just like to be off the streets and in a warm bar with drinks and music.
Picks up on it, and while his guns are holstered, he no longer grips the handle and tips his hat down, and for one moment lifts it up to show his horns that he doesn't generally show and say, apologies and fresh roads ahead.
Nothing to apologize for. Being careful on the streets, especially if it sounds like this.
Are you finished what you wanted to do here?
There's nothing with the voice. There's nothing with the statue. Is there anything triggering the experiences that brought me here now?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Will you give me 10 minutes, friends, and then we can move on altogether, but 10 minutes. If so, if they will grant me it, I will ritual cast Identify on the statue.
Nice.
I just want to see if it's a magic item and the properties of it.
You sit and you look at it, and you lay your stuff out, and you play a little bit of a melody, trying to practice at your new lute a little bit. And you hear the voice as if it's coming from the statue, and it goes,
Alone. Be alone.
The statue itself doesn't seem to move. Nothing about it lights up or anything like that. And you learn that this statue is 10,000 years old. You feel the essence of this person wandering around as it's being built. This statue doesn't seem to have been originally where it is now. You get the feeling that this was brought here, or at some point something was built around it to cover it up. It's as if the shadows of the past don't want to be remembered. The statue is just there. It's emanating this haunting aura, but everyone can feel that aura. But it doesn't seem to be magical.
I think Ortega is kind of going to be watching both of them from afar, kind of wondering what R's doing with his magic, and then he'll kind of get intrigued.
So, Ari, with this echo that you hear,
be alone.
What do you do?
Here or anywhere.
Here.
Now or in a more convenient time.
Now.
Ari looks up and says, You heard Parrish. Let's grab a drink. Discussions to be had, and I believe connections have already begun. I think perhaps I feel it as you do, Parrish. You go on up ahead. I need but to relieve myself for a moment.
I'll grab my favorite table at the ready room.
I hope it is near enough to the band for me to enjoy the acoustics.
So what makes the best. And Parrish will take his leave with whatever of the party wants to follow back to the ready room.
Ortega's going to look at the ladies of the group, see what they do.
Oh, and Parrish will probably say, come on, Dermont. It seems as though they are hoping to have a conversation with you.
Let's go.
I'll buy you a drink.
Fantastic.
In that case, Ortega's kind of going to just give Dermot like a dad giving a son a little push ahead. He's kind of going to nudge him and say, you're coming too.
Oh, yeah.
And Ortega will follow him to the group.
I'd like to fall in step with Dermot and kind of just quietly speak to him. Are you okay to come to the ready room with us?
He looks at you and, yeah, I think so. Don't see why not.
I just know that there are some strong feelings that exist in the party at times, and I would hate for anything to happen to you, to any of you.
He looks down at his feet as he's walking up, and he goes, I know that Io was trying really hard to not have this go down the way it did. I think in any other circumstances, we'd be together, our groups, and I'm not strong like Io, and I definitely don't have the magical prowess that Galcerad has. I have a very, very funny feeling that Galcerad had access to potentially spells that may have coerced us easier. I don't know if he's a bad person. I don't know if Irvin is a bad person, but I do know that Gold talks when it comes to that. They were looking for a score. I know they can be persuaded. I've fought with them, I've bled with them, I've cured them, I've helped them. They may not be bad people, they may not be good people, but they are people. They made a dumb mistake, and I actually hope they pay for it.
I've known better people who have done worse things for a lot less. I'd like to talk to them, and nothing more than that.
For what it's worth, I know the poison that he used on all of you. I'm sure someone capable of using that could find something more lethal or a more permanent solution, if that weighs on the scales of their lives at all.
Oh, I should correct you that the poison was mine and Io's idea. The alternative was worse. Galcerad was in charge of it.
How much of this is Ortega getting?
I mean, he's talking in a low voice. You're probably getting a little bit of it, but Dermot goes on to continue. He goes, myself and Io decided to go with the easy route. I don't even know if Galcerad knows you're alive.
Oh.
You sly little minx.
I should have kept the disguise on longer.
All I can know is Ortega not going to kill this man.
As you guys all continue on out of the temple, Ari, you said you stayed behind?
Yeah.
Your party leaves. The light darkens, somehow illuminated by this bioluminescent interior of the mountain. And you hear,
I knew him.
You knew who?
Your father.
and the lights come back up. And you see the statue itself, still the same statue, but you're looking at it differently. There's like a resemblance. It looks like you, or rather you look it. In some way, you have this very weird feeling.
Is the voice still there, or is the voice gone?
It's gone. You now actually don't even realize where you've gone. Like, you don't remember your way back, so you're gonna have to retrace your steps like the regular, normal person way. You have no recollection of how you got here, basically.
I stumble forward. I do not talk to anyone. Pull my mask up and my hat down. I don't stop until I either find my friends or a place to drink.
At this point, you guys have all made your way back to the ready room. The innkeeper looks at you, this large party, looks around and is willing to offer you some rooms on the third floor. It's not much, but it's enough for your own privacy. As he sees Parrish, who he's gotten to know a little bit, and this large group doesn't have enough beds for everybody on the main floor. So he's willing to make you guys a deal for 10 gold apiece.
That's a lot of money.
Considering that like he literally has no space for you, he's got to basically like renovate an entire upstairs that he doesn't have the space for.
Delez, you're the only game in town, and damn it if you aren't doing it right.
Ortega is going to put his coin pouch on the counter, and that is going to cover Ari, Tatiana, Talus, himself, and Parrish, as he'll just put his entire coin pouch on the counter and say, that'll cover half of us, should the other half show up. Dermot, you can pay him yourself.
Dermot pulls out like a huge coin purse and just he's like, all right, I mean, they're gonna come eventually, right? I hope. Maybe. I don't know. Ari, you spend a couple hours trying to wander your way around, and you start to get an idea of where the ready room is. It doesn't take you too long to get back to the ready room, but you're walking in and it's looking the normal way that it's supposed to look for you. And you do see that there's a makeshift ladder around the back.
I think Ari will stumble in.
Parrish would probably play until the point that he realizes how emotionally invested he got into a song and brushes away a tear and kind of excuses himself from the stage. When it gets to like the depressing music.
Ortega is going to spend a few minutes telling the bartender that he's already bought 3 glasses of like the top shelf whiskey and then just copped up 50 gold for everyone to stay the night. Try and talk them into at least letting him sip on the rest of that bottle of whiskey included in his like 55 gold he's already spent here. Just wants the rest of the bottle. And
it's a role he has to make. I will walk alongside him and literally having just feeling the vibe of what was played previously, say, did you hear that? Enough to bardically inspire.
Ortega has already spent enough money. He doesn't like the bartender's like, yeah, it's fine. Like it's not a.
He got bottle service.
Yeah.
He would essentially take the bottle and grab 3, maybe 4 other glasses as he would join Ari at the table, even though Ari tried to be by himself, and pour Ari a glass and himself a glass, and then whoever joins him at the table later, he will pour a glass, and it's like right up to the rim. Like you get a full healthy portion of whiskey because he still looks very exhausted.
As the night starts to die down and break into the morning hours. You guys all head upstairs. The rooms are divided. There's about 3 rooms. There's a room for the one party, a room for the second party, and then a room for the females, which you've come to realize are actually the barkeeper and the innkeeper's own private quarters, but they've opened out due to Lady Tatiana's affiliated noble status.
50 gold didn't hurt either.
50 gold definitely didn't hurt either.
Yeah, no, that'll get you a nice room.
With everyone's exhaustion and just being super tired, it doesn't take long to fall asleep. You hear some commotion going on with the other party's room on the inside. You hear Dermot thumping around a little bit. You don't hear anything else until you fall asleep. Talith, you feel some wind kind of brush against your arm as you're in your elven trance. You feel it a little bit easier. You open your eyes. There's nobody there. But then you hear a whisper in your ear. The whisper of a familiar voice. I made sure to take them just for you. And she kisses your forehead, takes off the jewels, and there's Io beside you. She says, I'm very sorry. And that's where we're going to end it tonight. As we bid farewell to this gripping episode, our heroes find themselves in the company of Parrish, a new character whose role in their adventure remains shrouded in mystery. However, the joy of reuniting with Lady Tatiana is a testament to the enduring strength of their bonds. The enigma of the mysterious voice that Ari heard continues to hang in the air, leaving us with questions that beckon like distant echoes. And with the jewel of 3 prayers now in Ao's possession, the implications for Captain Talus are a riddle yet to be unraveled. The weight of this newfound responsibility adds an intriguing layer to their journey. I have been your host and Dungeon Master Kyle, and to you, our dedicated listeners, we extend our deepest gratitude for sharing in this epic odyssey. Your unwavering support fuels our passion for storytelling, even as the mysteries of this tale deepen. As we close this chapter, may your own adventures be filled with enigmatic encounters and the courage to face the unknown. Until we reconvene in the next episode, where new challenges and discoveries await, remember that the spirit of adventure knows no bounds.